How you guys doing? I'm just here to go over my top 5 favorite baits that I would use to target big bass. And these are all my favorite baits for the year 2015. So within the next few years this could change, but as of right now these are my favorite baits. These are what I have in my tackle box, have set up on my poles, and these are the baits that I bust out and would use in certain conditions to catch a big bass. And I'll just be going over each one and what I would use it at, use it with, what type of season, where I would use it at, and just everything. First one I'll start off with is the Bluegill Shellcracker G2. It's an awesome wake bait. One of my favorite baits for getting bass during the pre-spawn and spawn period, mainly the spawn period when they're on their beds. This thing, you can run it across their bed and you normally get a pretty good hit on it. The good thing about this thing is it floats, so you can run on the top of the water line, or if you crank it really fast you can drop it down, so you can basically go over grass and whatnot. And it's a really good bait around beds and everything. I love this bait. I normally get pretty good hits off of it on the bed, and that bait right there, you normally catch a big bass on it. It's a big bait. Eventually I want to get the Ghost Bluegill. I think that color looks a little better than this one, but either way, both colors do pretty good. The next one is the Huddleston 68 Deluxe, and this is the weedless one. And as you can tell, it's got the weedless hook in it. I really like this bait also around running through beds and whatnot. It's also good to run through channels during the pre-spawn period and whatnot, but I actually have the smaller one hooked up on my pole. It's I think the 4-inch gold shad, and that was the one I was using. I have a medium heavy pole, and this one I'm probably gonna have to switch over to heavy pole because this thing really bends the pole. Has a good weight to it. I have this one. I think the rate of fall is 12 feet per 10 seconds. I think that's what it goes by. I want to get a rate of fall of 5. I think that'll do a little better when I'm going through the beds, because this thing sinks pretty fast. Plus, it's pretty heavy. However, I love this bait. The only thing that I don't love about it is the $25 price range, and then the $8 price range for the smaller one. I'm not a big fan of the price, but these baits right here get you the big bass. I was actually running that 4-incher over some beds, and I got a bunch of hits off of it. I might switch over to a non-weedless just to try it out, because I was getting a bunch of hits off of it, but I couldn't get any to commit. And I don't know if it would have been a little better if I had a different hook set up on it, if I would have been able to snag them. But got lots of hits off of it, and I love this bait. I love how it swims. It looks really realistic in the water. Just really well put together, and I understand the value or the cost of it, because I mean, you get a lot with this bait. It's very, very realistic bait. A lot of innovative technology into it. Very lifelike. And that's one of my baits that I would use. The next ones I have are my crawfish. These are great for pre-spawn spawn period. I used these at Lake Griffin, and I used them in the canals because I was anticipating the spawning period, and I guess I just targeted the wrong canals, or just didn't work the right ones because I didn't get too many hits off of them. I used these along the bedding, under the docks and everything, and I mainly stuck to my Draper ones. However, I also have my Biospawn and my bruiser bait with the jig that I got from Mystery Tackle Box. Just didn't have very much luck with these. I think I was targeting the wrong beds. I should have went down more south, and plus the weather conditions were really bad. The first day it was raining all day, so just bad conditions, and it was cold, and then it warmed up to the second day. Alright, my next baits that I would use are my top water and slow sinking frogs. This is one of my top water frogs. I love this bait. And then this is also great around lily pads and whatnot. Gets over them, gets through them. Just an awesome bait. This is my Draper one. This one I like a lot because it's slow sinking and it swims really well. With these legs out here, it really kicks out and stirs up a lot of motion. It looks awesome. You can get a good reel to it, and it cruises across the water. That's a nice top water. Or if you slow down the reeling, it drops down and you can actually reel it back up in. And when I was actually using this, I was hooking it weedless, and you just run it above the beds and then drop it down in them, and that really gets you the bite, especially if there's bass in those beds. And I used this a little bit, but just didn't I wasn't at the right spot, and conditions didn't allow it. Back in the canals I used it more around the lily pads and whatnot, and tried to use it over the beds to try to stir up the bass, but just didn't have any luck. And then my last rig, which is actually the rig that won the tournament. If you look, the Robert the winner actually posted a picture of he had about a 9-inch worm. It was custom company worm, so it wasn't a very known worm. And he actually had it hooked up Texas style. And for anyone who doesn't know what Texas style is, hook it up weedless with like an offset hook or so, and then a nice bullet weight on top, like so, like that. And then you'd have the worm like that, and have the bullet weight up here. You'd have a little bit bigger of a bullet weight. I have another one that I was using, and I actually had, this is my Zoom Mag 2 in the June bug color. I actually had had a pole set up with it hooked Texas style. And then this is also another worm I was using. It was the Bang rail tail worm, and I have this in black. He actually won it in a black worm. Didn't have like the ribbon tail. He had I think a straight tail worm with a larger tail end and Texas rigged. But it looked like a 9-inch, maybe 10-inch worm, so it wasn't too different from these worms I was using. And I was just in the conditions for these. I think he caught his in the canal, but I'm not sure. He probably was working in the middle of the canal and then maybe the sides, and he probably caught it within there. I'm not entirely sure. I didn't talk to him. That's what I was actually using this for. I was using it for the middle of the canal, on the entrance of canals, or the entrance of creeks and whatnot. There wasn't very many creeks on the lake. I mean, there was a few, but it was mainly canals on the side that I was fishing. That's what I was using these on. And I was using them in the middle, the entrance, on the head. I also used them on points, or where the depth dropped down. That's where I had these rigged up. And these are my 2 poles that I had rigged. I had a third one, but I actually messed up the reel on it. And I actually kept switching these out. This one was towards the end of the day. I fished the canal, and I actually had this hooked up on a stand-up jig with a crawfish, and I also had my other pole hooked on the Huddleston. And those are the 2 main baits I was using. I actually had this pole hooked up on a worm, then I switched it out at the end of the day. These are my 5 baits that I would recommend using if you want to target the big bass. These are normally pre-spawn, the spawn period baits, but you can use them. I know the Huddleston you can use pretty much all year round, and you can land some nice bass off that bait. And that's it.